Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Paul Katz, and I have the privilege of serving as Dean of the Cooper Medical School of Rowan University. And we obviously have a few more people here than seats, but I hope everybody will be a little bit tolerant of us. This is a big day, and so many people deserve thanks. We're glad that all of you were here. To Governor Christie, to Governor Florio, Senator Sweeney, Senator Norcross, Mayor Redd, Mr. Norcross, Dr. Houshmand, and Mr. Sheridan. To our public officials, the boards, leadership, and faculty of the Cooper Health System and Rowan University, to our educational and construction partners, to our donors to the 2012 Legacy Society, and to our distinguished guests. Welcome to our home. This is a wonderful day for the Cooper Medical School of Rowan University, for Rowan and the Cooper Health System, the city of Camden, the region, and the state. It was a mere 17 months ago that the first steel for this building was laid on the ground beneath us. And here we are today to celebrate another grand event, the opening of our medical school. There are many, many people to thank for all the contributions that led to today. We build upon the rich traditions, social missions, and commitment to the city and to the region of our two parent institutions, Cooper, celebrating its 125th anniversary, and Rowan University. The governor, the legislature, and our public officials have been unwavering in their support. Please know that we'll be equally unwavering in our commitment to the success of the medical school, to the revitalization of Camden, and to the health of the region and state. To the boards and leadership of Cooper and Rowan, your nurturing and fostering of our school have been essential, and we thank you for giving birth to this medical school. While the very recent history of creating a medical school in Camden began in the spring of 2009 when Governor Corzine signed the reorganization plan, our true origins trace back almost 40 years ago to the germination of the idea of bringing a medical school to southern New Jersey. In 1971, at the behest of Governor Cahill, a study was ordered to determine the feasibility of such a medical school. Hanging in our lobby, an article from the February 27, 1973 edition of the Courier-Post recounts a story of a meeting that took place in Cherry Hill. At this meeting, those in attendance strongly endorsed the idea of bringing a medical school to southern New Jersey. George E. Norcross, the father of the current chairman of the board of the Cooper Health System, was chosen to lead this group. This article now includes the household names of other members of the team: Assemblyman James J. Florio, Camden County Freeholder Director Alan Vogelson, and Dr. Louis Coriel, among others. The goal was not realized at that time. Instead, the medical center became a home to a 2-year regional medical campus for the Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. That was some 30 years ago. But the desire for a 4-year medical school in Camden continued to burn every bit as strongly as it did 40 years ago. That was until 2009, when the dream became a reality. Following Governor Corzine's action, work began on CMSRU, the work of creating the educational program and achieving accreditation, and the enormous task of building and planning a home for the school. Dr. Edward Viner served as the first leader of Cooper Medical School, inaugurating its critical first steps. Dr. Viner's enduring commitment to the practice of medicine, to medical education, and to the city of Camden are well known to this audience. Ed, thank you for being the champion of this cause for so many years. Our Vice Dean, Dr. Annette Raboli, then became interim dean and led over 150 committed Rowan and Cooper faculty and staff who nurtured the development of our school. To them, we offer our sincerest gratitude for the essential work. The planning for this magnificent 200,000 square foot building began in earnest in 2009, and today represents the culmination of the efforts of many. To the Camden County Improvement Authority who oversaw this project, to HDR, our architects, to Joseph Gingoli and Son, our construction manager, to our prime contractors, the Bedwell Company, Falasco Mechanical, WPCS, and Dolan Construction, and to the 400 workers who worked on this building, thank you for getting us here, thank you for partnering with us, and thank you for bringing this very complicated project in on time and under budget. I also want to extend my personal gratitude to two of my colleagues who were part of the construction project since its inception and who contributed in ways that few can imagine. Art Winkler, a fixture and legend at Cooper for so many years, continued his involvement and shepherded us to today despite his alleged retirement. To Dr. Valerie Weil, my Associate Dean for Finance, Administration, and Operations. Valerie was the leader of this project and drove it to completion, and my heartfelt thanks to Valerie for this remarkable accomplishment. But there is an important member of the construction team who is not with us today. Bill Upton, our first construction manager from Joseph Gingoli and Son, passed away during this project last August at age 52. Much, much too soon. Bill's commitment to this building and his excitement about the opportunities that Cooper Medical School will bring to the region stayed with us through today. He was here with us every step. We are pleased to welcome Bill's wife, Patty, his children, Ryan and Megan, his sister, Deborah, and his mother, Betty, to this event. Patty, would you please come up and join me for a second? Patty, I want to present this to you. This is a picture of this beautiful new building. It says, "To the Upton family, in memory of Bill and all that he made possible for medical education for generations to come." July 24th, 2012. Thank you. While the lane of steel, pouring of concrete, and Herculean effort that went into finishing the medical education building were in progress, the less visible but equally vital work of creating the curriculum, selecting the inaugural class, and charting the course were ongoing. To the deans, faculty, and staff of the new medical school, to our community and educational partners, please relish this day. Please know that Cooper Medical School graduates will be recognized and known as a different kind of physician. Technically excellent, but skilled in those competencies that separate the truly great physicians from all others. For your commitment to the revitalization of Camden and to the future of healthcare in the region, my gratitude, and thank you on behalf of all those who will realize the rewards of your effort. I would like to begin this program by introducing our first speaker. It's really an honor for me to introduce a person without whose efforts this day would not have been possible. George Norcross kept the dream alive, the dream of a medical school in Camden, the dream that his father and the visionaries of the past held so dearly. George, thank you. Thank you for believing in the school, and thank you for believing in this city. Ladies and gentlemen, George Norcross.
Thank you. When I walked in, Governor, I wasn't entirely certain whether I was getting to your first town hall meeting or not. And something else you never hear, Governor, on time and under budget. And that's a great credit. That is a great credit to a large number of people who work so diligently to make this happen, two of whom I'm going to mention, and both of whom I told the same thing to. Failure is not an option. This building will open in July 2012. My dear friend Art Winkler and my friend Joe Gingoli. I just for a moment want to talk about a few people who meant so much to me personally involving this project. As Paul mentioned, it was almost 40 years ago that a young labor leader, my dad, and a young member of the General Assembly who was very interested in going places decided they were going to propose and advocate for a four-year medical school in this city. Well, my mother's here to see it, and I'm very grateful, and Governor Florio is here to see it. And I'm likewise very grateful for your support and your endurance, Governor, during this period. Thank you very much. Things like this never happen without determination and a team of people. And as I look out at the people attending here today, I see so many people who have had such an important part of being an instrument of what happens when people work so hard together to make something happen. On a bipartisan basis, this community has grown enormously. There are people that have worked diligently for decades as part of Cooper University Hospital and the Camden community. People who were young when they started and older today. But in the end, each one of the people involved in this had a dedication and a loyalty to something that mattered. It may have mattered because they were born in this city. It may have mattered because they became committed to or had a family member engaged in what we do. But nothing happens by any one individual. It happens as part of a broad-based team of people. As long as I've been involved at Cooper, which has been over 20 years, and my father another 10 or so before that, Cooper has been something that has been an extraordinary part of this city for almost 125 years. As a matter of fact, next month it will be 125 years. Part of the motivation we all have is to be certain that this city prospers and returns to a place like my father grew up in, or Alan Vogelson grew up in, or Lou Katz grew up in, or some of the other people that I look across this room and see. It's obviously been far too long that this city has lived in a circumstance and the inhabitants of this city the way that they have lived. This is part of a beginning that Governor Christie has been extraordinarily committed to and seeing going forward. And in the last several months, you have seen his administration, along with Steve and Donald and other members of the legislature, move forward with initiatives that are going to make change take place here, so that Cooper University will be here 125 years from now. Within the last 6 months, the legislature has approved, and the governor and his administration have been involved in what I consider to be 3 very critical elements of the future of this city. The first is the Urban Hope Act and Renaissance Schools. Renaissance Schools are a pilot program in 3 cities in this state. It's probably unlikely that some of the other cities will actually act upon the generosity of the state to test a new pilot program. The city of Camden is going to realize $250 million in brand new construction of state-of-the-art schools of K-12, the kind of schools that each of you in the suburbs have sent your children to, but unfortunately not so much in this city and some of our other cities. Secondarily, the administration has been intimately involved with Steve Sweeney and Donald and Dana and others in seeing to it that the number of police officers in this city is tripled tomorrow. Each day we wake up and we read something about a city in New Jersey, and in particular, this city. And for those that live or work or have grown up here, it's heart-wrenching to hear about this on a daily basis. Within the next number of months, I believe this will come to fruition, because without public safety, without proper public education, no city, no community, whether it's Camden, Cherry Hill, or Haddonfield, can survive. Many of you in this room are affiliated with Rutgers University and Rowan University. During the past 6 months, the governor and most of the people sitting here have been tremendous advocates of changing the way higher education exists in our state. It's something that my dear friend Joe Roberts began back when he became the Assembly Majority Leader in 2003. It's something that Governor McGreevey proposed, it's something that Governor Corzine spoke about, and it's something that actually happened. And in the next 10 years, I will so boldly predict that under this initiative that was advocated so strongly by our very strong-willed governor and our Senate President and Donald and a number of others, you will see Rutgers-Camden explode in over $1 billion of new development. That's what will make the city of Camden prosper. That kind of development, that kind of activity, that kind of public safety that all of us enjoy, and that kind of public education that every child in this city is entitled to as a right of birth. I want to end by thanking all of you who have been part of this, and particularly those that I've mentioned that have cared so much about seeing this to a conclusion. And I want to applaud again Governor Christie and Steve and Donald and Dana and others, and Joe Roberts during his entire tenure in the New Jersey legislature. Much of what is here today would not be here without Joe's active engagement and participation. And that's why we honor him, and we should all honor him and the other leaders that are part of a resurgence of this city that in the next 5 years we can celebrate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. I would like to welcome to the podium another champion for higher education in New Jersey, for the city of Camden, for the region, and for this medical school. Someone whose support has really been vital to us. From the 5th Legislative District, Senator Donald Norcross.
Good morning, and what a great morning it is. On this site, literally where you're sitting, 2 years ago was a methadone clinic. Abandoned houses, abandoned buildings. Today, before you, as you walked in, where people says it couldn't be done, sits a shining example of what New Jersey, what the South Jersey region, what Camden City can do when they set their mind to it. Governor Christie, Senate President Sweeney, Mayor Redd, Dr. Houshmand, my colleagues, Assemblyman Fuentes, and Assemblyman Wilson, who lives a block away from here, certainly understands the impact of what's going on here. When the students who applied for this school were selected, nearly half of them, one half of them, chose Camden City to live in. That shows the commitment to the city, to the region, of what's going to take place in this great facility. They said it couldn't be built. The architects, the naysayers, but the fact of the matter is construction began, and with the help of the Camden County Improvement Authority, Jingoli, the construction folks, men and women toiled over the last 17 months to put this up. They gave up their holidays, their weekends, and built an absolutely beautiful example of what we do best. But they did one other thing. They reached out into the community for those who desperately need a ladder to a next generation of construction workers, where the building trades, the electricians, the carpenters, the sheet metal workers, the roofers, brought some young individuals in and gave them a chance. And now they're well on their way in an apprenticeship program to having a new life in a new city. And I want to congratulate the building trades for doing that. So as you take a walk around this beautiful building today, you can see that the community is changing. And in addition to that, it's changing lives, whether it's those young construction workers who will go on to have their own families. And they'll talk about the time where it changed for them. For the community, we're going to see how it changes the way that medical education is delivered, unlike anywhere else in our country. And that's something Camden should be very, very proud of. When we look down the road, and George certainly made some wonderful predictions that I believe will come true, because it was literally 40 years ago that I sat there with my father when he spoke of having a medical school in Camden. And today, we certainly have that. Changing communities and changing lives. This is what this great facility will do. And we talk about doing that. There's an individual who I had the privilege and the pleasure of growing up with immediately adjacent to Camden City in the town of Pennsauken, because all our roots came back here to Camden. Senate President Sweeney has been a steadfast supporter of not only the state of New Jersey, but in particular in bringing back our great city of Camden. And I want to bring him up today and say thank you very much for his great advocacy. Please welcome Senate President Steve Sweeney.
This is just an amazing day. And Governor Christie, I want to thank you personally for working with us. We're Democrats, Republicans, but you know something, it's about the people. It's about this community. And to George, I can only imagine how proud your dad is today, because I know what his vision and his dream was, and that he never stopped caring about Camden. You know how easy it is to walk away and ignore? His father never did that. His father was a champion for this city, and again, for your mother to witness this today is a wonderful tribute to him. This is a great day for the city of Camden. And you realize, we just did a whole lot of amazing things in the state of New Jersey. Things that people said they couldn't be done. I was with the Senate President in Maryland, and he said to me, he says, how'd you guys do higher ed reorganization? Because all around the country they're trying to do it. Because we were committed to making the state great. Not just the northern, the central, the southern, the entire state. We created 3 centers of excellence. People said, well, no one's ever going to, 20 years from now, no one will remember who did it. Doesn't matter who did it, it's that it was done. It's that we recreated an economy in this region and in this state. We've redefined what the state of New Jersey is going to be like 20 years from now. And it took courage and leadership. And listen, the governor, myself, and members of my party and his party, it ain't easy change. You know that. It isn't easy. 40 years to do this. But when you have all the stars line up with a commitment to looking out for the people and trying to make a better life for the community here and throughout the state, you can get some great things done. I'm extremely proud of what we've accomplished this last year, but I'm especially proud of what happened here in Camden, because the people of Camden, just like anywhere else, need an opportunity, need a chance. Great schools, employment opportunities, and an economy to support that. We couldn't have done any better. And I'm very proud that I was part of it with Donald and again, the governor and George and everyone else and all my colleagues that are in this room. This is a great day for the state. And we need more doctors. There's a crisis in doctors. I want to throw that in right now. There's going to be a shortage. This is going to help a long way to fix that problem. So congratulations to everyone. Thank you.
Our next speaker is somebody who certainly knows the toils of life. But as Senate President Sweeney says, it's easy to walk away. It's easy to go on to another community. Our mayor has never done that. She's born and raised here, went to college here, and certainly understands our challenges. But just as we stand on a block here today, She is helping to change Camden one block at a time. Please welcome my mayor, Dana Redd.
Thank you, Senator Norcross. Good morning, and thank you to each and every one of you for joining us on this occasion. I'm really overjoyed and really overwhelmed at what has transpired here in our city, and I want to thank and acknowledge our partners that are helping us to move Camden forward, starting with our Governor Chris Christie, George Norcross, our Senate President Steve Sweeney, Senator Donald Norcross, Dean Katz, along with John Sheridan and Dr. Houshmand. Let's give them all a round of applause. To say that today is a great day for the city of Camden and the southern New Jersey region is probably an understatement, for the vision of a medical school has certainly come to pass, and I believe that it is an indicator and a catalyst of future development which is to come. And so on behalf of the citizens of Camden, our bona fide residents who strive each and every day, we want to say welcome to the medical school and congratulations for a job well done. Give yourselves a round of applause. We are very grateful that the Cooper Medical School of Rowan University has chosen Camden as its home, Camden as its classroom. This state-of-the-art medical school, which is in the center of our city, exemplifies Camden's long-awaited, long-talked-about resurgence. It is Camden's time. Not only will this wonderful facility be a boost to our economy, but I believe the biggest impact and value will be seen in the delivery of health care in our city. Not to mention the medical scholars and physicians that shall emerge from this institution, starting with the inaugural class. So in closing, I would like to just acknowledge a few special individuals who have been our grassroots organizers in the Cooper Landing Civic Association, Ms. Sheila Roberts, along with Ms. Sheila Davids. John Sheridan and I can both attest to many community meetings, but I can tell you that these women have gone door to door getting community support and galvanizing the residents to welcome the medical school to their neighborhood. I also want to recognize our Council President, Frank Moran, and Council Vice President, Kirk Jenkins, along with members of Council, Councilwoman Dana Burley, who represents this ward, and thank them for passing the various resolutions and ordinances that were necessary to support this project moving forward. And particularly to acknowledge the efforts of Vice President Jenkins, working along with Susan Bass-Levin to make sure that there were local hires on this project. And to date, well over 50 residents worked on various phases of the medical school. So thank you to both Kurt and to Susan. George, in his remarks, talked about the agenda which is to come. We will not stop with the medical school. There is more work to be done in the great city of Camden. From expanding and increasing public safety, putting more boots on the grounds, and making sure that we have more officers to patrol our business community and certainly our neighborhoods, to revitalizing and rejuvenating and reforming public education to build Renaissance schools throughout the city that create the pipeline that will take our young people from cradle to college to career, to, yes, reforming government, reducing costs, and increasing productivity. We have much work before us, but I am confident that this work can be done with the partners that sit before you, the partners that have come from various parts of the state and the legislature, to every one of you who are here in the audience today. So I would like to just say this in closing. May God bless the Cooper Medical School of Rowan University and its inaugural class and leadership. May God bless the city of Camden, and may we continue to always remember to do what is right in order to propel her into her future and to move Camden forward. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you, Mayor. As you've heard today, higher education in this state is undergoing a remarkable transformation. Our next speaker has already contributed much to the journey today, first as Provost of Rowan University, and now as President. It's a pleasure for me to introduce Dr. Ali Houshmand.
Good morning. I apologize for this shoulder injury. I guess, was it Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher, once said, "What doesn't kill you weakens you and kills you later." So I suppose we'll see what will happen later on. It was 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago, that we had a meeting in the boardroom of Cooper Medical School, Cooper Hospital, with the leadership of the hospital and our leadership talking about the creation of medical school. And it was remarkable when I was sitting in there as a newly hired, almost 3 years in my career at Rowan, that the speed with which the leadership of Rowan embraced the idea and he said, yes, we are ready. And then upon further reflection, I realized that it was 20 years ago where an industrialist named Henry Rowan gave $100 million to Rowan to change it from a small teacher college and turn it into the institution that it is by asking it to build an engineering college. Engineering colleges are complicated. It requires tremendous amount of resources, infrastructure, laboratories, and faculty members in order to build a good engineering college. And the Rowan community embraced that, and 10 years later, the engineering college was nationally ranked, and today is ranked top 16th in the nation in undergraduate education, with every one of its programs are top 10, and chemical engineering number 3. And it was only 3 years ago when we started the $300 million public-private partnership with the Borough of Glassboro to build Rowan Boulevard. And if you go there right now, you see the buildings, the infrastructure, the facilities that have been built and the ones that are being built. It's absolutely remarkable to see Sleepy Town State Institution transform itself to what it is. All of these things speaks to one very important point, and that is change, or George mentioned that. Change is something that is very foreign to higher education, unfortunately. The joke is, you ask a 10 years faculty, how many of you does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is, says, oh my God, change? We don't like change, yet when you come to Rowan, we embrace it. And we embraced it during all this debate past 6 or 7 months that were first the idea of merger with Rutgers Camden, and eventually the legislation that passed. All along, anything that was proposed, Rowan community and Rowan leadership embraced it and said yes. To the point that some people started thinking that maybe we are a bunch of desperate people, that whatever they give us, we say yes. That wasn't the case. We really believe in change. And this country, the higher education in this country desperately needs change. The fact of the matter is the higher education in this country is broken. It's utterly broken. Institutions are large. They've got huge deferred maintenance. They've got huge debts. The amount of indebtedness of the graduates of the schools are skyrocketing. It's now $1 trillion. And we cannot continue business as usual. And the only way we can revive and revitalize the higher education in this country is through comprehensive change. And for that, I want to thank Governor Christie, Mr. Norcross, Senator Sweeney, Senator Norcross, and all the other leadership of the state sitting in here, who embraced change, who imposed on us change. And the reason that we all along agreed and supported whatever threw at us was not because we wanted to merge or take over Rutgers Camden. We never did. We had highest regard for Rutgers Camden. It was never us trying to kind of take over another institution or change their name or change their culture or change the way they do things. None of that was the case. For me and for us, it was the idea of imposing change, because left to our own devices, we would have never implemented change. And for that, we are where we are today. We now have a legislation that is hopefully will be signed by the governor soon, and then the work begins. And I promise you, 10 years from now, the people who are looking at Camden's, Glassboro, Rowan, Rutgers Camden, Collier Institute, you will not recognize it. I promise you, we will re-engineer the new 21st century of the university for the rest of the country to follow and to learn from. Just as Senator Sweeney said that the people in Maryland are asking, how did you do it? We're going to teach the rest of the world how you re-engineer university. We're going to do that. And that And if you look at the situation that we are in today, where, especially in our region, southern New Jersey, where for every 100 citizens, there is only one undergraduate seats, and the average for the nation is 31-1. That is, for every 31 citizens and throughout this country, there is one seat. We are looking at 80,000 seats in here. We only have 25. We are short 55,000, 56,000. And we're going to make that. And we're going to make that not relying on the state to bankroll us. Those days are over. We need to start being much more efficient. We need to start being much more frugal. We need to start learning how to do more with what we got. The days where you stay and you wait until the taxpayer come and bankroll you and let you build whatever you want or increase the tuition whatever you want are over, as far as we are concerned, as far as Rowan is concerned. And I promise you, we will do everything we can to provide the highest quality education to as many citizens of this great state as possible with the minimum price. That is the promise that we will give you. And I'm so delighted today is the start of that day. This medical school, nobody ever thought that we can make it. And in 2 years, when the LCME came in here, when the accreditation exit happened, and I was sitting here, I was dumbfounded. I have never been to an accreditation exit interview where they gave us so much accolades, not a single fault, and nobody believed that we could do it. We were called glorified high school, or we were called Rowan. People go to Rowan, they don't pay tuition, they pay cover charge. Well, let me tell you, today, come and look at us. Today, this year, we have the largest class, and our average SAT is 1,200. That's the result. We are going to enhance our access by working very closely with the county colleges. There are 7 county colleges in the southern New Jersey with 54,000 students. We're going to work with them as closely as possible to reduce costs, to provide more opportunities. We're going to create the graduate programs like medicine, like dentistry, like pharmacy, like law, so that the best and brightest of the 35 high school kids that are leaving the state these days to acquire education elsewhere stay here, seek it, stay here, and become productive taxpayers. That is my promise to you. Thank you very much for being here, and I'm so delighted for today.
Our keynote speaker will be introduced by someone who has given so much already to the creation of the Cooper Medical School of Rowan University. As President and Chief Executive Officer of the Cooper Health System, he's worked tirelessly, generally behind the scenes and without fanfare. He has helped bring this school to life. We owe him an enormous debt, and I want to personally thank him for all of his hard work. Mr. John Sheridan.
Good morning, everybody. Paul, thank you for those very kind words. I was listening carefully as people spoke and mentioned many people that contribute to this project, but I want to just take a second and recognize first one person in particular, and then groups of people, 2 groups of people. First, would you please recognize Joan Davis, the Vice Chairman of our board? Joan has dedicated her life to Camden for these many years, and Joan, thank you very much. I also think it would be appropriate to recognize the amazing leadership that the boards of trustees of both Cooper and Rowan provided. I would ask them all to stand, please. So you all believe you are here today for the opening of the medical school. But the real purpose we gathered here is to give the governor an opportunity to practice his keynote speech for the Republican National. The theory is if it can work here, it can work anywhere. There is not much of significance that happens in New Jersey unless you have the governor's support, and on larger projects, as you've heard, multiple governors. Governor Christie's support looms large in the efforts to secure an allopathic medical school in South Jersey. In September of '09, and I recall this vividly, the governor broke away from the campaign trail and came to Cooper to visit a close friend who was badly injured with a traumatic accident. During that visit, he took me aside and made it clear to me that the medical school was high on his list, and he had had his full support. Governor Christie was sworn into office in January 2010, and one of his first actions was to send a budget to the legislature. That budget fully funded this embryonic medical school. He followed through again in 2 subsequent budgets, and he did this in the face of significant annual state budget issues. In my view, it is impossible to overstate the importance of his actions. In the spring of 2011, there were 2 medical school applications pending before the Liaison Committee on Medical Education: the University of California at Riverside and Rowan University. Our application included a very strong and detailed letter of support from the governor, along with letters from Senate President Steve Sweeney and then Assembly Budget Chairman Lou Greenwald. Suffice it to say, only 1 application was approved. The other was rejected, and the reason was it had insufficient state support. Please stand and give Governor Chris Christie a very warm Camden welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to thank John for the introduction. As tempted as I am, John, to take you up on your offer, got to be asked first to do the keynote speech before you can practice it. So unless Governor Romney calls the next 3 minutes, we're going to have to wait for rehearsal for another day. I thank all of you for being here today. It is a very important day in the history of our state. And I say that not for all the reasons that people normally say these things, because that's what you're supposed to say when you come to an event like this. But, you know, I call back on my experience as U.S. Attorney to tell you why I say that. Had lots of different defense attorneys who would come in and pitch things to you when you're U.S. Attorney on behalf of your client and their clients. And oftentimes, the stuff they were saying to you had absolutely no familiarity with the truth. But they were just trying to help their client out, you know? And so I had one particular defense attorney who used to do this on a regular basis, and he was making a pitch to me one day, and he said to me, Chris, no, listen, you got to listen to this part, because this actually has the extra added benefit of being true. I say it's a very important day in the history of the state, and when I say it, please pay attention, because it actually has the extra added benefit of being true. And the reason for that is that there has been so long in this state suspicions and doubt and mistrust between regions. And when you run for governor of this state and you run across the entire state, you trip over these past suspicions and doubts and mistrust every week. And what you find as you start to listen to people is the reason that there are suspicions and doubts and mistrust is because there have been actions that have been taken to cause suspicions and doubts and mistrust over the course of our state's history. And so one of the things that I was committed to, if I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to hold this office, would be to try to take actions that would alleviate the suspicions, the doubts, and the mistrust. To say that when you're governor of New Jersey, you want the entire state to thrive and do well. That it's not good enough for just one section of our state to do well. That if all sections of our state don't do well, then that is a mark on the entire state and on its leadership. And so I've gotten lots of compliments from the speakers today, and I appreciate that. But I feel like all I'm doing is doing what I promised I would do when I ran for this job, which was to put greater attention on the areas of this state that had not gotten sufficient attention over the course of time. And I know that when folks from here in South Jersey hear that from a guy in North Jersey, they say, yeah, sure. So I knew that I had a big hill to climb, and we're still in the midst of climbing it. But because of the work that we've all done together, regardless of party, regardless of where you lived in this state, where you grew up, we're working together to make sure that we cast away the mistrust and the doubts and the suspicions of the past, not through the use of words, but through deeds. And this is a big deed right here. And the folks who will come through here and learn here and then come and serve this community will be an ongoing example, a legacy for all of us who played some small role in making it happen, to prove that we care deeply not just about one portion of this state, but about all portions of it. We owe a great deal of thank yous to a lot of people who were involved in this, and let me just say a few of my own. I have to start with the Senate President, and I say that because it is always easy to be a partisan in this business. You will always find plenty of support for that. There will always be people within your own party, both of them, who will cheer you for being obstructionist and taking shots and playing the same old political games of the past. It is less cheer-worthy among the partisans to say that what you care about most is doing the job that you were sent to do and benefiting the people of this state regardless of where the political chips will fall. Over the last 2.5 years, I've been privileged to have a partner in the Senate President who cares more about that than he cares about partisanship. This building is another example of that mindset on his part, and he deserves great congratulations for what's happened today, and I congratulate you, Steve. Thank you. Same goes for so many other members of the legislature who are willing to stand up on both the Republican and Democratic sides of the aisle to do that. No one spoke louder than Senator Norcross, who cares deeply about this city and about the people he represents. And while he may not share some of the same, enthusiasm outwardly that the Senate President and I do in interacting with each other, do not take Senator Norcross any less seriously. He is a person who cares deeply about the issues that affect this city, and this opening of this medical school today is a tribute to his leadership in both big and small ways, and I congratulate Senator Norcross and thank you for your leadership. Of course, the folks at Rowan University deserve great credit for willing to stand up and be a part of this and have their institution be a great part of it, and I congratulate them, and I congratulate the President, and I also obviously congratulate the Mayor. She's got a tough job, a really tough job, and she works at it every day with a great sense of purpose and also with a great sense of self. Dana Redd doesn't take herself too seriously. She takes the problems and challenges of this city seriously, and I enjoy working with her. On top of the fact that we've gotten some good things done and have more things to do, I enjoy working with her. So, Mayor, thank you very much for your leadership as well. You know, every dollar spent on education like this spurs another $3 in economic activity in our state. It is an investment in our state's economic future. It is an investment in our children's and our grandchildren's future. And so, yeah, even though we had some very difficult budgets when I came to town, we did make this a priority in our budgets, not just because it was the right thing to do for this region, but because it was the right thing to do for the state's economic future as well. And so investing as the state has in this project and will continue to invest in higher education in every region of the state is because it's not only smart for our children's future who want to be educated here, it's smart for the economic future of our state if we want to continue to grow jobs and to put people to work and to have people want to come to New Jersey because of great opportunity. And this school will help to create great opportunity. New Jersey has an opportunity now, as Steve mentioned, with in the next year developing 3 centers of excellence in Newark, New Brunswick, and here in Camden, to make sure that young people, no matter where they come from in this state, have a local opportunity to get a world-class education and to do so close to home, if that's what they choose to do, and to do it at a price that is affordable for them and for their families. That's part of our job. And this building is an example of another way we're going to make that opportunity available to folks who want to serve this community and our state as physicians. Last but not least, there is always great fascination in the media. And I often wonder why this is. There's a great fascination in the media about my relationship with George Norcross III. Folks somehow believe that how could a strong-willed, as he put it, Republican governor have a great relationship with the leader of the Democratic Party in the southern part of the state. And I say to folks all the time that I am unabashed about the fact that I have a good relationship with George and that we work hard together to try to make the state a better place. And today is a day where he deserves the lion's share of the credit. Because without his persistence, without his commitment to this, it simply wouldn't have happened. No matter what else you hear from anybody else who stands behind this podium, it would not have happened without George. And so now some will run away and write stories about, geez, why was Christie saying this stuff today about Norcross? Let him write about it. The way I view it is, from my perspective, anytime my name is in the newspaper, it ain't all that bad. And I know whenever I mention Norcross's name, I'm going to be in the newspaper. So, but the fact is that, as you heard today, this was a dream of George's father, and the son executed the plan of the father. And any of us who have children, who we have dreams for, and then those children begin to execute on those dreams, not only their own, but maybe some of ours that were left over, that we didn't quite have enough time to achieve. Feel a great sense of pride. And I know that Mrs. Norcross must feel a great sense of pride today at what her family has helped to achieve in this city and in this state. And that pride, in my opinion, is deserved. And so I want to thank George for his persistence, for his hard work, for his commitment to doing something that benefits folks that he probably will never meet and certainly will never know. That's the example of public service. And so I thank him for his persistence on this today. I thank him for helping all of us to see the wisdom of the vision here And I look forward to continuing to work in this region of the state as much as we possibly can to realize a real revitalization of Camden and this region, because when that happens, it will make New Jersey an even greater place, and that benefits all 8.8 million citizens in this state, not just the people who live here and around it. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Governor. I know the governor is on a tight schedule, so we're going to change this a little bit. We're going to do it? Okay. You know, you never know what's going to happen. The construction of this building was an enormous feat, and many people in this room were able to witness it firsthand. For everyone else here today, we're pleased to present this video to you, and apologize to our speakers, but it's right behind you. The future of Camden rests not just in this medical school, but largely on the youth of this city. And we're very pleased to have some children from the Head Start program here in Camden to join us. In closing, thank you all for being here for this magnificent event. We welcome you to join us in the Learning Commons on my left for refreshments and to take a self-guided tour of the building. Maps are available outside. Finally, please allow me to ask you one small favor. As you exit this building today, please take a moment to look at the plaque on the wall immediately outside the front door. This dedication plaque displays the mission and core values of the Cooper Medical School of Rowan University. In everything we do, from the selection of the charter class, to the creation of our innovative educational program, to our commitment to the city of Camden and to the region, our mission and core values drive all that we do at this medical school. Please take a look and watch what we do. Thank you all for your support, and thank you for coming.